What's up guys, Dan here from the Krystal Kaos TCG, and today I'm going to be doing part 2 of the rule video for my card game, Krystal Kaos. So in the last video I went over the basics of the game. I also went over creature cards and bridges and basically the turn structure, which is basically the basics of the game. You learned how to win, how to attack, all that kind of stuff. In this video we're going to be going over more of the different kinds of cards other than creature cards which you can play. So let's get started. So let's go over the main type of card other than creature cards, and that is the resource card. A resource card has a pink background, and in the little text box in the middle where on a creature it would say it's crystal, it says either P resource or S resource, which stands for permanent resource or single use resource. Deep Space Portal, for example, is a single use resource because it says S resource. Another way to tell if it's a single use resource or a permanent use resource is on a single use resource, in the top right corner it says an R and a minus. On a permanent use resource, let's use Chemistry Lab for example. This isn't in the new format, but it still could be our example. So Chemistry Lab is a permanent resource, and in the top right, instead of having an R minus, it just has an R. So single use resource, permanent use resource. So what do resources do? Well, resources always have an ability at the bottom, and when you play a resource, the ability comes in play. And you can play resource cards in resource areas. So resource areas are these two little places on the bottom right of your board. This is resource area 1, and the one below it is resource area 2. Just like creature areas, resource areas start locked. Also just like creature areas, resource areas have to be paid to unlock. So the first resource area costs 4 shards to unlock. If I pay 4 shards, I can unlock my first resource area. The second resource area, however, costs 8 shards to unlock. So the first one costs 4 and the second one costs 8. So I'd have to pay 8 shards to unlock the second one. And just like creature areas, you have to unlock resource areas in the right order. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that in the first place, but it's basically just one of the rules. So you have to unlock the first one, then the second one. So let's say I unlock my first resource area by paying 4 shards. Then what I can do is I can play a permanent resource in it. Let me play Chemistry Lab in my first resource area. When I do that, its ability goes into place. Chemistry Lab's ability is your opponent loses a point for every card on your opponent's field that does not have its original health. So if I play that there, whenever there's a creature on my opponent's field that does not have its original health, they lose a point. Now we know that to play a permanent resource, you have to unlock a resource area and then you can play it in it. But you have to unlock the resource area by paying its amount of shards. And you have to do it in the order, first the first resource, then the second resource area. The first resource area costs 4 shards, the second one costs 8. Alright, so now, what if I wanted to play a Deep Space Portal? Well, if I wanted to play a Deep Space Portal, since this is a single use resource, just like a permanent resource, I'd have to have a resource area unlocked. However, unlike a permanent resource, I don't play it in the resource area. I just play it directly into my discard pile. I can do, if I wanted to play my Deep Space Portal, I'd have to pay 4 shards to unlock this resource area. Then I would play it in my discard pile. So since you don't play single use resources in a resource area, what you can do is you can have a permanent resource in the first resource area, and since the first resource area is unlocked, I can play a Deep Space Portal in a discard pile as well. So I can have the Chemistry Lab, which is a permanent resource, being played, and I can also have the Deep Space Portal being played at the same time. Now, the reason why there's 2 resource areas is if I wanted to play 2 different permanent resources at the same time, I'd have to pay 8 shards to unlock the second resource area. And then what I can do is I can play a second permanent resource at the same time. It doesn't matter whether you have 1 permanent resource or 2 permanent resources. As long as you have 1 resource area open, you can play a single use resource in your discard pile when it's your turn at any time. So now we've gone over resource cards, let's go on to the next type of card, which is an equippable card. And an equippable card, you can tell because in the middle where the crystal is, it says equippable. It has a black background, and in the top right corner it has a little E. So equippable cards are basically exactly what it says in the name. So you equip it to a creature. Let's say I had a Glacier Yeti played in my first creature area. What I can do on my turn is I can equip the Atomic Sword, since it's an equippable card, to my Glacier Yeti. So what you do with equippable cards is you attach it right behind, and you put it behind a creature that you want to attach it to. And when you attach it, it gains the ability of the equippable card. For example, Atomic Sword, his ability reads, the attached creature gains 70 power. So when I attach Atomic Sword to Glacier Yeti, Glacier Yeti gains 70 power. So he goes up from 370 to 440, since he gains 70 power with the ability of Atomic Sword. So you can have as many equippable cards attached to a creature card as you want. Equippable cards may be attached to your cards or your opponent's cards. You can attach them to either your creatures or your opponent's creatures. So why would you want to boost up your opponent's creatures? Well, not all equippable cards are good things. For example, Sketchy Scientist is an equippable card that has a negative ability. His ability reads, every time the attached card attacks, it permanently loses 50 health. So you obviously wouldn't want to attach that to your Glacier Yeti. But let's say your opponent has a Rikki Tikki played on their side. What you can do is you can attach Sketchy Scientist to that, and now Sketchy Scientist's ability applies to Rikki Tikki now. So now, every time Rikki Tikki attacks, he loses 50 health. So you can attach equippable cards to your creatures or your opponent's creatures, like what we did with Rikki Tikki. Let's say Sketchy Scientist is attached to Rikki Tikki. Then now it's my turn, and I want to attack Rikki Tikki. So I can kill him because I have more power than his health, which we went over in the last video. So I kill Rikki Tikki, and now what happens is Sketchy Scientist, since he was originally my card, he goes to my discard pile, and Rikki Tikki goes to my opponent's discard pile. So no matter what, whenever a creature dies, the equippable card behind it dies as well. So if it's attached to my creature and my creature dies, they both die, and they both go into my discard pile. If there's an equippable card attached to my opponent's creature and I kill his creature, this Sketchy Scientist dies as well, but it returns to my discard pile. One very important rule, which applies to everything: after you attack with a creature, you cannot do anything else. So your attacking has to be the last thing you do on your turn. So you cannot attach an equippable card to any card after you have attacked. So let's say I attack with Glacier Yeti. I can't go ahead and attach Atomic Sword to him after I've already attacked. One other thing about equippable cards is that you don't have to have a resource area unlocked to play them. So if you have Glacier Yeti right here, you don't need to unlock this resource area to attach Atomic Sword to Glacier Yeti. You can do that whenever. So those are equippable cards. Alright, the next type of card we're going to go over is called a Chaos card. So Chaos cards, like Time Warp here, Chaos cards have a red background. It says Chaos in the middle and they have a K at the top. Chaos cards are pretty different than most types of cards because every other type of card in this game, no matter what, you can only play it on your turn. However, Chaos cards can be played on your turn or your opponent's turn. The only catch is you can only play it when the card tells you that you can play it. For example, Time Warp here says when one of your played cards dies, shuffle it back into your deck. So you can only play this card when one of your played cards dies, because that's when it says you can play it. Unlike resource cards and just like equippable cards, you do not need a resource area to be unlocked to play it. You just play it directly into your discard pile and then its ability takes place. But remember, you can only play it when it says that you can play it. So let's pretend that I have Bomb Bros played right here and my opponent has Trash Men played right here. So let's say it's my opponent's turn and they attack and kill my Bomb Bros. They kill my Bomb Bros and I have Time Warp in my hand. Time Warp says when one of your played cards dies, shuffle it back in your deck. So since Bomb Bros dies, I can play Time Warp now, since it meets the requirements of it. So I play Time Warp, and then I shuffle Bomb Bros back into my deck, because that is what Time Warp says it does. So that is what Chaos cards are, and how you play them, and then how they work. The next and final type of card in Krystal Kaos TCG so far is called a Bridge Booster. And you can tell it's a Bridge Booster because there's a brown background, it says Bridge Booster in the middle box, and there's a B in the top right corner. So Bridge Boosters are kind of wacky and kind of fun in a way, because what you do is instead of playing them in a resource area or in your dead pile or in a creature area like creature cards, you play them on bridges. This is the only card that you play onto bridges. So Super Complicated and Enormous Distractions ability reads, when a creature enters this bridge to attack, it attacks directly to your opponent's crystal for 1 point. When you have 0 creatures on the pitch, kill this card. So what I do is if I want to use Super Complicated and Enormous Distraction, since it's a Bridge Booster, I play it directly onto my bridge. Bridge Boosters, their ability only goes off when a creature enters that bridge. Super Complicated and Enormous Distractions ability doesn't work until I enter this bridge with Glacier Yeti. So let's say it's my turn and my opponent has a Rikki Tikki right here. What I do is I enter my bridge, and because of Super Complicated and Enormous Distraction, and its ability says that instead of attacking a creature, I attack straight to its crystal for 1 point. Instead of killing Rikki Tikki and attacking Rikki Tikki, I just attack directly to the crystal, since that's what its ability says. Bridge Booster's abilities only take place when a creature enters the bridge that the Bridge Booster is played in. Another thing about Bridge Boosters is that they can only be played in built bridges. So let's say I have this right here, and I have Glacier Yeti right here. I cannot play my Bridge Booster right here because it is not in a built bridge. I'd have to play on this built bridge because it is a built bridge. I can only play on a built bridge. Another thing about Bridge Boosters is I can't only play it on my bridge. I can play it on my opponent's bridges as well, just like equippable cards. You might think, why would I want to do something good to my opponent? Well, just like equippable cards, there are Bridge Boosters that have negative abilities, like Under Construction right here. So Under Construction's ability reads, when the creature and the corresponding creature area enters this bridge, it stays on this bridge and cannot return to its creature area for 2 turns. I'd want to play it on my opponent's bridge. Let's say they have Rikki Tikki. So the next time Rikki Tikki enters this bridge, he cannot re-enter his creature area for 2 turns, meaning he cannot attack me for 2 turns. Alright, so let's do a quick brief recap of what we learned today. So there are 2 types of resource cards: permanent resources and single-use resources. To play either of them, you must have a resource area unlocked, and the first resource area costs 4, the second one costs 8, and you have to unlock them in order first then second. Permanent resources are played in the resource area, and single-use resources are played in the discard pile. If you have a permanent resource in a resource area, since there's a resource area unlocked, you can play a single-use resource in your discard pile at the same time. When these cards are played, their ability takes place. Equippable cards attach to your own creatures or your opponent's creatures because they have positive and negative abilities. Equippable cards add its ability to the creature which it is attached to. When an equippable card is attached to a creature and it dies, the equippable card returns to its owner's discard pile as well as the creature that it was attached to. And just like every other card, you cannot do anything else with equippable cards after you have attacked. So with anything, after you attack, you cannot do anything. Attacking must be the last thing you do. Chaos cards can be played on your turn or your opponent's turn, but it can only be played when the card says it can be played. You play the Chaos card directly into your discard pile, and just like equippable cards, you don't need a resource area to be unlocked to play them. You just play them directly into your discard pile. Just like a single-use resource card, when it gets played into your discard pile, its ability takes place. And lastly, bridge boosters are played directly into a bridge. They can only be played in a built bridge, not an unbuilt bridge, only in a built bridge. Its ability only takes place when the creature enters that bridge that the bridge booster is played on. Just like equippable cards, you can play bridge boosters on your opponent's bridges because they have negative abilities as well. Okay guys, so thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video of part 2 of learning the rules for the Krystal Kaos TCG. Be sure to check out the duel video that I posted, because that will help a lot in learning the game and understanding it. It's just good to watch somebody play it to help learn it. That's how I learn the best, if I watch somebody do something. If you haven't already checked out part 1 of the rule video, I'll link that into the description below. So yeah, go check out that video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye.